Welcome to the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. You were watching ASUN women's basketball on ESPN+. And tonight, one of the surprise teams in the ASUN this season, the Stetson Hatters, look to continue its winning ways tonight on the road as they take on the Royals of Queens, searching for conference win number 1. As we welcome you into Curry Arena, thrilled to have you with us on this Thursday evening alongside the 10-time state champion North Carolina head coach Josh Springer. My name is John Gross. And hey, Josh, these two programs have only met twice before. However, both of those games were decided by just 2 points apiece, and if the past is anything to predict what we'll see tonight, strap in for a good one.
Buckle up, we're going down to the wire. The game a year ago, a nail-biter, Queens won at home here, and then just a couple weeks ago, Stetson was able to escape down into land, a nail-biter like you mentioned. Both teams coming in with a lot of confidence for this one.
Somebody who has a ton of confidence right now is Nikki Gwynn. 33 points for the Queens leading scorer last game out.
It's no secret, Queens this year, when they're at their best, number 3 is at her best. And we just saw her get presented with that 1,000 career point ball, an unbelievable moment for any young lady in her career. She had 24 the last time out against Stetson, and if Queens is going to get that first conference win, she has to be huge again tonight.
Let's take a look at our starting lineups today, which are brought to you by Atrium Health. This is the starting 5 for the Royals.
Well, and again, it starts and ends with Gwynn. Jordan Weaver has had a monster season. She poured in 17 the last time against Stetson. And so Gwynn and Weaver will not speak up on Coach Bria and the Hatters tonight.
On the flip side, for the Stetson Hatters, a team that battled some injuries early on in the season, but it seems like Lynn Bria has started to find her rotation as her team has found a lot of success in conference play.
My focus tonight is in the middle. Jalen Talley. I love her game. 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds a game. Queens has had some trouble guarding on the interior this season. I'm curious to see how do the Royals handle Talley inside.
Let's send it courtside to the third member of our team tonight, Kat Biancardi.
After a few hard days of practice, the Royals are ready for a rematch against Stetson. This time, though, inside the Lions' den. Queens, in search of their first ASUN win, will rely heavily on executing the little things Coach Brown emphasized in pregame. Additionally, she said, hey, these are the things that we have to do. We need to play disciplined, which means limiting turnovers, and then we also have to get a little extra effort, like rebounding and trying to get those second-chance points.
Thanks, Kat. And Queens returning back home as they lost last time out and at Bellarmine, a 2-game road swing in the state of Kentucky, but I should say the Commonwealth of Kentucky, as you get a look at head coach Jen Brown and her 4th season. And this is a really cool opportunity for her to go head-to-head against somebody who she calls one of her mentors and one of her dogs in Lynn Bria.
When we talked to the coaches earlier this week, you hit the nail on the head. The mutual respect among these two, they were effusive in their praise of each other.
And we'll dive into that throughout the broadcast. They speak to each other at least once a month. They are friends 363 days of the year, but they're enemies today. And anytime they hit the hardwood against one another, we are underway. Stetson at 13-12 in the season, 8-3 in conference, winners of 6 of the last 7 games. Ball in the hand of the leading scorer, Jemiah Turner. She fires down low. Talley, her shot knocked away, and on the second effort, there is Jalen Talley, who you mentioned in the pregame.
Again, I think that's got to be the focal point of the Queens defense is Talley inside. They got away with stopping her the first time, but then she put in her own miss.
And the entry feed from Weesey is intercepted as Anna Kunzweiler making her 9th consecutive start as the steal. Stetson searching for its 3rd consecutive win. Last time out, a nail-biter. 57-56 win against the Sugar Bears of Central Arkansas. Back in underneath, it's Kamaya McNeil, and her layup falls.
2 possessions, 2 layups. We heard Coach Brown say, Stetson does an incredible job of trying to punish you in the paint. A lot of new school basketball is let's penetrate, pitch it, shoot as many threes as possible. These two teams are the opposite of that. Stetson wants to get to the rim.
We see off-kilter shot off the mark. And again, Stetson goes inside. This is a Stetson team that doesn't shoot the three ball very well, very often, only 23%. But they do this very well, although Kamaya Ward has her first rejection of the night.
Great recovery by Ward. She was fortunate there. She got beat off the sweep and go from the elbow by Talley, but an excellent recovery to save a bucket.
Team leading 21st block of the season for Ward. Entry feed locates Kessie, and Gwynn comes away with it. Gwynn fresh off of a 33-point game, wave off the basket. Illegal screen set by Kamaya Ward. It's her first, team's first of the opening quarter.
Three possessions thus far for the Hatters, and they've gotten layups every time. Ward right here with the step-up ball screen. I love the idea that it's so hard to guard in transition, but you have to stay set, and Nikki's got to use the screen so they can get a good look.
Weesey on the takeaway. Weesey has it knocked away from behind by Anna Kunzweiler. Stays right here with the Royals. Tiziana Weesey getting an opportunity to start today for Queens. 8 points last game after a 10-point game against Eastern Kentucky. Here is the Argentine guard. Johnson now, long two, contested jumper goes.
Great sign for the Royals. Any perimeter offense outside of Nikki Gwynn is a huge plus for Queens.
Johnson was just 2 of 12 from the field last game against Bellarmine, so a positive start today. Talley. End of the shot clock for Kunzweiler. There's Turner, the fifth-year player, the leading scorer for this squad. Has some breathing room. Her jumper's off the mark, and Weesey collects the rebound. Weaver, pull up. Too strong. And it's brought in by McNeil. She'll push the tempo. 3-on-2. McNeil all the way to the basket. And she draws the foul committed by Allie Johnson. That's her first, team second.
Nice job of McNeil here in transition. You can see she has a bigger, stronger frame. She just lowers the shoulder into Allie Johnson. Really tough situation for Allie. You're either going to give up a layup or a foul, and I don't mind that foul. Make McNeil earn it at the line and make two from the charity stripe.
McNeil, 70% free throw shooter. Preseason all-conference selection. Averaged 11 a game a season ago. Her numbers down just a bit at 9.2 points per game this season.
I need to give a shout out to McNeil, being from my home state, the pride of Wisconsin. Love seeing other cheeseheads in action.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's where McNeil hails from. Started her career at Syracuse. Spent one season there. Made her way to Stetson as she heads off after converting on a couple of free throws.
So you know how I know McNeil is a really, really intelligent young lady? When you grow up in Wisconsin, you go to Syracuse, and then your next stop is Florida. You love the sunshine down there. That's
an upgrade, to say the least, weather-wise.
I love my people back in Wisconsin, but I enjoy 1 week of the snow now instead of 6 months of the snow.
Ron Gwynn steps on the end line, heads down to Stetson. I mean, Stetson, it does not get much better than the weather that they get down there in Florida.
Why do you think Lynn Brea's been there 16 years and has no plans of leaving anytime soon?
She's a West Virginia native. She spent time at Ohio, where you actually got your coaching start. That was the very first college coaching job you had was under Lynn Brea.
21 short years ago as a clueless graduate assistant.
Now you're a 10-time state champion in North Carolina. What a move by Jalen Talley on the inside.
I just love Talley's footwork. On paper, she's too short. On paper, she's a little too slow. But she has incredible footwork, incredible patience, and is really hurting the Royals in the paint.
Fourth consecutive start for Talley. Treadwell gets downhill and uses the window. And Jen Brown will take a timeout. 10-2 lead for Stetson on 8 paint points as they pound the rock on the inside and lead it by 8 in the first.
How it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Back here at Curry Arena, Stetson leads it 10-2. Let's take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Kramer Group Realty.
Well, for Queens to have a shot tonight, they've got to dominate the glass. Coach Brown was adamant about Stetson loves to tear up the paint. They get second shots. They're not an outstanding offensive team. Stetson barely averages a tick under 60 points a game, and so Coach Brown felt if we can hold them to one shot, we'll be right where we need to be at the end.
And if you want to know why Stetson is at 8-3 in conference despite averaging just 59 points a game, you just saw it. It's been the defense this season that has carried this squad as Johnson brings in the rebound. Gwynn, open three, off the heel. And a loose ball ripped down by Quintara Mitchell, the reigning ASUN newcomer of the week. Carter Hartley, the back end, uses the window. That is now 10 paint points, and that's one of the other areas that Jen Brown really emphasized earlier today. They have to limit the paint points for the Hatters.
Well, in my opinion, I wonder if Queens is going to make a change in their defensive philosophy. Stetson has shot 10 shots. All 10 have been in the paint. And Queens is choosing to guard them one-on-one. And thus far, Stetson is having their way. And I mean everybody's having their way in the paint. So I'm curious to see, will Queens switch and double on a catch in the paint and just take their chances? If Stetson makes 10 threes from the arc, so be it. But I don't know if I want to live watching Stetson shoot layups for the next hour and a half.
And the double dribble turns it over back to Stetson, currently riding an 8-0 run. Now we see Queens show his own.
That's another way to prevent them from getting layups. I like the move here a lot by Coach Brown.
McNeil down the lane, intercepted by Weaver. Numbers. Weaver all the way to the basket, off the window.
Tough finish, really tough finish. Last year she was a phenomenal rebounder. This year obviously she's leading the ASUN in rebounding, but her scoring has been much, much more consistent.
22 points last game for Weaver. She has 7 double-doubles now, averaging 12 points per game. As the corner 3 goes for Quintara Mitchell.
Unfortunate for Queens to give up a corner 3, but I like the philosophy. They come out in a trapping zone, trying to change up the momentum, trying to change up the tempo to jumpstart your offense.
Mitchell on that triple. The reigning A-Sun newcomer of the week. She's a 5th-year player in her first season at Stetson. As Gwynn pulls up, leaves it short. Weaver had it momentarily, and that is whistled for the foul. That is her first, team's 3rd of the quarter.
Nikki Gwynn soliciting for a foul call on the baseline there. In 26 years of doing this, John, I have yet to see the official change their call after a plea from a player, but it doesn't stop many from trying.
Yeah, our veteran officiating crew tonight, Christy Weed, Ryan Durham, and Kate Burrell. Here's Treadwell. Drive and dish. Straight on 3. That's off the mark. Offensive rebound. It's Mitchell who puts it in.
And that just can't happen. Queens got exactly what they wanted. You get the other team's 5-man. You get Carter Hartley to shoot from the arc. She doesn't draw iron, but we talked at the open. You have to finish the play with the box out. Yes, Stetson's had some open looks, but when you get them to take the tough shot, you need to finish the possession.
And it's given right back to the Hatters. This first quarter looking reminiscent to what Queens had last time out against Bellarmine. Trailed by 14 to the end of the first. Right now down by 13. Loose ball. And a held ball will send it down to Queens.
Coach Bria talked earlier today to us, John, about I play all 10 players. And we talked about, well, who's your go-to player? Who do you look to? And I love her quote. She said, "You'll see it when I see it." And that's really the strength of the team, that she felt very confident playing 10 players, knowing she's getting contributions from 9-10 players. And we've seen that play out this quarter.
And this is not necessarily the Stetson team that everyone expected to see this season, as Gwynn knocks down the triple. Big bucket for the Royals. But the Hatters had some early season injuries that really forced Coach Bria to change the playing style for this team. And offensive rebounds for Epley. And another bucket on a second chance opportunity.
I have always admired Coach Bria for a lot of reasons, but her honesty and her adaptability. And we said to her, "Is this how you want to play?" She said, "No, but we want to win." And so we had to make changes during the season. I had to use our personnel the best way possible, and it's hard to argue with, 5 A-Sun wins in a row right here.
An air ball there for Gwynn as Adia Brisker heads off. Weesey replaces her. And it is remarkable. You look at what Stetson's done this year. Picked 6th in the preseason poll. Winners of 6 of the last 7 games. And they are 5-0 on the road in conference play. And as they try to break down this Queens zone defense. Here's Jordan Pete, her first action of the game. Entry feed, Mitchell goes down, and Weaver races away with it. And Weaver is bumped by Treadwell.
I like that foul by Treadwell because it saves the basket. Right there, Weaver was probably getting a layup. Treadwell takes a common foul, no problem. You get to put your 5 green jerseys in front of the 5 white jerseys playing offense, set your defense, high IQ play.
First personal on Treadwell, first team foul. Couple changes for Stetson as Jalen Talley and Jemiah Turner head on the floor. And a clock issue as they take off 2 seconds from the shot clock. Now squared away. Final 80 or so seconds of this first quarter. Queens searching for that first conference win. Stetson trying to win 3 in a row as the Hatters kickstart a 3-game road trip, and Weaver is brought down to the floor. That's the second against Skylar Treadwell, team second.
You can tell a focal point of Stetson's defense is be there on the catch when Gwynn gets it. Watch how tight Treadwell is. taking away all of her airspace. I love what she did, but you can't give a forearm shiver to the screener, which she did on Weaver there. Kudos to Weaver for holding her ground right there.
And not a surprise why they're closing out so hard against Gwynn, one of the top three-point shooters in the conference. We see swing. Here's Shaw. Shaw is ripped away. Jalen Talley the rejection, and it's taken right back by Ward. Gwynn for three. That rims out, and it's ripped down by Turner, who is in trouble in the backcourt and gets tied up and fouled. Tiziana Weesey tacked with the foul. That is the team's fourth, her first. And Gwynn the interception. Still number 4 for Queens as she settles into a mid-range J.
Just a horrible decision there by Epley. She didn't make anybody guard her. She typically wears number 10, sporting number 21 tonight. Nikki Gwynn takes the theft and turns it into her easiest jumper of the evening.
That's where Queens has, for a large part of the season, found the most success in the offensive end when it forces those turnovers. Queens third of the conference in steals per game. Precarious situation as Talley turns it over. Another takeaway for the Royals. 3 seconds. We see Gwynn at the buzzer. It's an air ball as we head to the second quarter. Stetson leads it 19-9 in the second and final meeting of the season between these ASUN foes. Stick with us. It's ASUN basketball on ESPN+.
Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than a good trail mix. But a mountain bike trail, not so much. Oh, hey. My pedal. Wonder where the other one is.
From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina is there every step of the way.
Good day, though. Good day.
The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 4th. Visit asunsports.org for more information. Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above. Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination. The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 8th. Visit asunsports.org for more information.
Here, strength comes from within. Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
Stetson leads it by 10, but Josh, near the midway point of that quarter, Queens made an adjustment defensively, and it seems to have paid off.
Absolutely. Stetson came flying out of the gate, up 12-2. In the last 5 minutes, Queens switched to a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press and then dropped into a 2-3 zone. You see the aggressive traps in the corner. They have forced 6 Stetson turnovers, and then the second half of that quarter, the game was 7-7. Obviously, Queens still trails by 10 here, but I really like what they're doing defensively the second half of that first quarter.
Queens stays in the zone, something they were practicing a lot today at shoot-arounds. As we said before, Stetson not known for its three-point shooting, just 23% from beyond the arc this season, as Tally isn't ripped away. Sixth steal for Queens. Gwynn. Marked tightly by Pete. Gwynn pull-up jumper. That's off the mark. And Pete spins inside. Pete through traffic, denied by Ward.
That's the second time Ward saved a layup by a last-second block.
Now, 22 blocks this season for Ward. That is good for first on this team, despite missing about the first half of the season.
Of greater concern to me, though, Stetson is getting way too many early transition looks. Queens has got to get floor balance when Nikki shoots the ball.
Ward underneath, travels.
We've said this multiple times this year, John. Where does the offense come from after Nikki Gwynn? She can't go off a ball screen 12 plays in a row, so who else can create offense for Queens?
That's been the question for a large part of this season. Last game, Queens did have an answer for it. One of the main games where multiple players stepped up offensively. As we see, brings it in, held ball, sends it down to Queens. But you look at Gwynn, who had 33. Weaver had 22. They put up 76 points. 76 points for Queens probably wins them this game.
I think 70 points, 65 points might win the game for them. Truly. I want to go back to the number one key of the game, though, from Jen Brown, rebounding. At the end of the quarter, Queens was -9 on the backboard. That stat has to change for them to have a chance.
Here is Nikki Gwynn. 2 of 8 from the field so far, 5 points. And she finds Johnston to the corner. High arcing 3 left. It's short. Weaver has the offensive rebound. Gwynn catching fire. That hops off the iron. And it's rebounded by McNeil. Mitchell, baseline pull-up. Ward, another rejection. That is her 3rd block of the first half. And Queens takes over.
You can tell Stetson is running early and often, and one of the things Queens has had a hard time guarding in transition is the corner 3. And now Mitchell at that time passed on the corner 3, and I thought had a beautiful shot fake. Queens recovered, but Queens is going to have to find those shooters in the corners in transition.
Weaver, elbow jumper, pops off the rim. Queens 4 of 17 to start this game. McNeil through traffic, tough bucket. Kamaya McNeil. We see on the other end, she can't respond, and Mitchell high points the miss. And Gwynn takes it right back. Then loses it as Mitchell corrals it. McNeil, she's cooking now, but she lost it as Ward has the takeaway. Another turnover. That is number 9 for Stetson. Gwynn open 3. Too much behind it. And tapped right into the hands of Jalen Talley.
Quick observation, these referees may have a 8:30 dinner date because we've played 3.5 minutes in the second quarter, and you hear multiple players on both teams searching, complaining for a foul, and there has been none in almost 4 minutes this quarter.
And only 6 total fouls in that first quarter. Cross-court feed intercepted by Weesey. 3 and 2 for Queens. Weesey off the window. Too strong. Weaver the offensive rebound. And a held ball. Possession arrow Stetson.
Everybody in the building, catch your breath. You can see a lot of people in there. You see the hockey line changes coming in. Mass subs for both teams.
Johnson heads on. Adams on.
Hiawassee with a nice drive to the glass, but watch Weaver just explode to the ball. I mean, size matters, height matters, but desire, effort, relentless pursuit of the ball. Jordan Weaver exemplifies all of those.
Queens extends its press back to that 2-2-1. Johnson, Fuller, Adams, Brisker, and Ward, the five of the floor now for Queens. Turner, Pete, Mitchell, Talley, and Kunzweiler for the Hatters. Here is Mitchell. Pull up. Mitchell over the outstretched arms of Ward.
Beautiful screen right there by, number 33, Jalen Talley. In the high post, gave her a wide open 15-footer.
And Johnson walks with it. Ninth turnover for Queens. Fourteen-point lead for Stetson. First of 3 road games in a row for this Hatters team that finds itself in contention for a top spot in the A-Sun postseason. 10 of the shot clock. Mitchell. Kunzweiler off the screen from her high school teammate Talley, and it's an illegal screen. Goes against Talley.
That is the easiest call the referee will make all night. Talley knew it. She was trying to get up to set the high ball screen, but was extremely late. Easy call again for the official. With that being said, I'm really impressed with Stetson's ball reversal. Almost every trip when they don't score in transition, they get 2, 3, 4 ball reversals.
Allie Johnson hits it for Queens. First points of this quarter for the Royals, and Johnson jars it free. 3-on-1, Fuller to Johnson, lays it in.
There's Queens basketball right there. And very smartly a timeout by Coach Bria. She's not interested in this turning into a 10-0 run.
Lynn Bria wants to talk things over. We'll step aside as well here from the Queen City.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Ask for gas. Ask for gourmet meals. Ask for endless hot water. For faster drying time. Ask for natural gas. Ask for appliances that last longer. Ask for more comfort. For higher return on your home's value. Ask for hurricane ready. For hot meals and hot showers in a power outage. Ask for benefits. Ask for energy savings. Ask for rebates. Ask for more. Ask for natural gas.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Welcome back, folks, and Queens has been looking for a secondary score. Well, Allie Johnson is filling that role. She's got 6 points on the evening tonight. Queens' pressure defense has already forced 12 turnovers, including 10 steals, John, and 4 by Nikki Gwynn.
10 steals for a team that is third of the conference in steals per game by averaging 9 steals per game. And they have more than that with 4:48 to go in the second quarter. Let's send it down to Kat Biancardi with more from the Queens huddle.
Inside Coach Brown's huddle, she emphasized her team, hey guys, our points aren't going to come just from making the baskets. Our points are going to be coming from toughness and making advancements like steals. Allow your toughness to create your momentum is what Coach Brown said and emphasized to her team.
Thanks, Kat, and that is exactly what we've seen so far. It's been defense into offense. 10 of Queens' 13 points have come off of turnovers. There's the first foul against Queens this quarter.
But here's the issue if you're Queens. Great news, they've forced 12 turnovers. Bad news, they still only have 13 points. The NFL analogy, we force 4 fumbles and 3 picks and have a touchdown to show for it, John.
So what do you want to see them do differently in the offensive side of the floor to get some points?
I'm just a big believer in ball reversal, and I think thus far Nikki's made a couple tough shots, but it seems like if she makes it, great. If she doesn't, the shot's going up, or there isn't much action on the second or third side of the floor. I think Stetson is an elite defense. Lynn Bree has talked about that all week. That's their calling card. So you have to give the defense a chance to make mistakes by getting the ball going side, top, side, by getting multiple paint touches. I think that can help Queen's field goal percentage go up.
Kennedy Fuller whistled for that foul. That is her second in about 30 seconds, team second of this second quarter, as Nikki Gwynn replaces her, and Queens once again shows this 2-2-1. Kessie into the corner, Kunzweiler. Jordan Pete. Kick out to Promise Kessie, native of Rubano, Italy. Pete, 5 of the timer. Through a double team, layup short, and Brisker brings in the rebound. Brisker, who only played 4 minutes last game. Entry feed, Ward. Too strong, but Ward is fouled, and Kamaya Ward will shoot Queen's first free throws of the night.
Beautiful lob entry pass. Post feeds are one of the most under-taught aspects of the high school game, of the collegiate game. Allie Johnson with great patience, a nice seal by Ward, catches it high, keeps it high, got high-fived on the shot. That's why she's going to the charity stripe for 2. Great pass by Johnson. Again, very underrated skill.
Ward, the 45% free throw shooter. Rims out in the first. Speaking of free throws, Josh, if you look back to last game for Queens, lost the game by 9. Bellarmine shot 34 of 35 from the free throw line. I don't know if I've ever seen a stat line quite like that.
I'm going to call the coach and say, what happened on that miss? I'm just kidding. Truly remarkable. In our team, in our program, we would love to have 75% every night out. The reality is you look at a lot of high school and college programs, they're shooting in the 60s, low 70s. So when you're at 90+%, you know you're going home with a win.
Stays here with Queens, 14 to the shot clock. Yeah, that jumped out to me on the box score.
Remarkable.
I don't think I've ever seen anything close to that, 34 of 35 from the line.
It's one thing to obviously get to the line, another thing to make them, but it tells you a lot about their offensive philosophy, that they're consistently attacking to draw 35 free throw attempts.
Well, the officials have to break up some conversations. Ryan Durham and Kate Burrell getting in the mix.
I heard it clearly, John. They were talking about Cheesecake Factory or Ruth Chris Steakhouse for the post-game meal.
I'm sure. I'm positive. Gwynn, her 3 is short. And Pete collects the miss. In the corner, Kunzweiler, too strong at the triple. Weaver, the weak side rebound. And the conference's leading rebounder takes it all the way, and she travels. Change for Stetson as Kamaya McNeil re-enters, as is Deanna Carter-Hartley. After seeing 28 combined points in the first quarter, these two teams have scored a grand total of 8 points in the second quarter.
I want to take a minute to talk about Jemiah Turner here, John. I just love her poise. I mean, you can tell the experience she has. Coach Bria uses her to bring the ball down the floor, to go play inside. She's got 500 career rebounds, 100 starts. Just watch the poise and maturity she plays with. It's impressive.
And a travel by Kamaya McNeil gives it back to Queens. You mentioned Turner, a fifth-year player on this team, and a fifth-year player as a key player. She was a day-one contributor and has started for 4.5 seasons in her Stetson career.
And Lynn Bria said to us earlier today, do you realize how rare that's going to be going forward? We all know the transfer portal is here, and it's here to stay. She said, I don't know how many 5-year players we're going to have moving forward, but she's a special one.
Allie Johnson is feeling it right now. 8 points for her on 4 of 6 shooting as she leads all scorers in this game. Here is Turner. Pull-up jumper, that's in.
That's Turner's first basket of the game, and yet I would argue she's had a major impact on the game by doing so many little things for the Hatters.
Gwynn at offensive rebound. And a held ball. Stays here with the Royals.
I've got a first down for Queens. Looks like about 7 yards line. I love the fight by Nikki Gwynn. Of course she can shoot it. We know that. She's got 1,000 career points. But when your leading scorer is diving headfirst for loose balls, is not willing to give up on a loose ball, no matter if she's giving up, a few inches, a few pounds, that sends a huge message to your team. And what happens? When you fight that hard, good things happen. That energy radiates to your teammate, and Weaver knocks it down.
Back to an 8-point game after the Weaver jumper. Approaching the final minute of this first half and a second quarter. That has been a defensive slugfest. Physical quarter as Mitchell lets it fly. Mitchell hits her second three of the game.
Unfortunate for Queens. I like their activity defensively. I like their high hands. And we've talked about, make them make threes. The two teams that combined for only 2 thus far. Mitchell hits her second to give Stetson some breathing room.
And Ward has the answer off the nifty feed by Allie Johnson. 20-second difference, shot clock to game clock. And an offensive foul. Drawn by Weaver, goes against Mitchell.
Outstanding play by Weaver. Again, Kat Biancardi talked earlier about the toughness plays Jen Brown was asking for. You've seen multiple toughness plays. And guess what? Most players, they want to get toughness plays when the ball's going in the basket. I'm impressed by Queen's toughness plays when the second quarter has been a struggle offensively. You see Nikki Gwynn getting loose balls. You see Jordan Weaver drawing a charge right here. If they can pull within 4 or 6 here at recess, that's a big boost of confidence going into the second half.
Queens down by 8. This is coming off of a few days in which Jen Brown said were some excellent practices. She called it a phenomenal week of practice as Weaver called for the illegal screen. Heads down to Stetson. Third team foul and Weaver's second.
Jen Brown defining the term perplexed, I would say right now.
Well, her team has a chance to get another stop here. Stetson, on the flip side, can bring it back into double figures. The Hatters have led from the jump, including by as many as 14 points. Turner has it knocked away, and here is Gwynn. 2 seconds. Gwynn to the basket. Too strong, and that will bring us to the midway point of this matchup. Stetson on the road through 20 minutes, a 27-19 lead. Your thoughts on what we saw over the first 20?
An unfortunate last 5 seconds for Queens. Nikki Gwynn with her 5th theft of the half. She has the awareness to look at the clock. She knows she can get to the rim before the buzzer, and unfortunately wasn't able to finish. I think that could have been a big momentum play for Queens.
Halftime at the Queen City. You're watching ASUN basketball on ESPN+.
This is how it feels. To live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
A historical black figure I look up to is Dr. Martin Luther King. I know that's everyone's go-to, but I actually went to Dr. MLK High School growing up back home in New York City. So I've had a unique interaction and unique information of Dr. MLK. So for me, it's definitely him. His ability to link religion with peaceful protest and just the effect he had on the entire world during the civil rights movements in the 1960s is something that everyone can lean on and follow his teachings to the fact today that his I Have a Dream speech is probably one of the most recognizable speeches of all time. So Dr. MLK definitely is one of my favorite people.
Great stuff as always from Coach Brown as we continue on through Black History Month. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule for the Royals. And on Saturday, one of the best mid-major teams in the nation comes to town, 2 p.m. Eastern. The FGCU squad comes up from Fort Myers, Florida. Make sure to tune into that one at ESPN+. North Florida, Jacksonville on the road, and then back at home against Kennesaw State in the first weekend of March. That's a look at the upcoming schedule for the Royals. All those games can be seen at ESPN+. At halftime, Stetson 28, Queens 19. We continue on after this on ESPN+.
Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than a good trail mix. But a mountain bike trail, not so much. Okay. My pedal. Wonder where the other one is.
From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina is there every step of the way.
Good day, though. Good day.
So Josh, since I asked
The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 4th. Visit asunsports.org for more information. Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above. Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination. The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 8th. Visit asunsports.org for more information.
Here, strength comes from within.
Practice makes perfect. And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next, that's up to us.
Stetson leads Queens at the break, 28-19 on this Thursday night here in the Queen City. And earlier this month, Nicole Gwynn became the 16th member of the 1,000 Career Point Club at Queens University. Our own Cappy and Cardi sat down with the Queens star about this milestone.
What up, Royals Nation? A women's Royal basketball player reaches a 1,000-point milestone. I'm Cappy and Cardi alongside Nikki Gwynn. You hit that milestone. Just describe what it takes to make that type of accomplishment.
Well, I train like every day.
Every day?
Yes, off season for years and years and years. So just like the equity built up, I feel like of all the years we've been putting in work, that's how I got it.
And describe this season in particular. How have you grown since you've arrived on the Royals campus?
In a lot of ways, I had to adjust to a new environment, you know, me coming from an HBCU, and also just like as a player, I'm in a leading role now as a captain, so I had to adjust to not only keeping myself accountable, but making sure everyone else is held accountable to what they came here to do.
And getting to that 1,000 points took a little bit longer probably than you probably wanted it to or expected it to. How did that length of time almost provide you a sense of a learning opportunity?
Yeah, that's another thing also, because I'm so impatient. I feel like it coming at the time that it came was obviously God's timing. And I don't know, I just feel like all the work that I put in, it was going to come when it came. So I really wasn't stressing when it was going to come, because I knew eventually with the work it was going to come. So I just really was just timing.
Absolutely. And what would little Nikki say about herself right now?
I'm proud. I'm proud that I made it this far. I didn't think, I mean, I knew I could, but actually walking in my truth and what I said I can do and doing it, I'm proud of myself.
All right, well, congratulations again, Nicole.
Thank you so much.
And you see there Nikki Gwynn pregame getting that 1,000-point ball, a tremendous milestone to do at the collegiate level. Congrats to Nikki. Back after this on ESPN+.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Ask for gas. Ask for gourmet meals. Ask for endless hot water. For faster drying time. Ask for natural gas. Ask for appliances that last longer. Ask for more comfort. For higher return on your home's value. Ask for hurricane ready. For hot meals and hot showers and a power outage. Ask for benefits. Ask for energy savings. Ask for rebates. Ask for more. Ask for natural gas.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Halftime at Curry Arena, Stetson on the road. They have not lost at a conference road game, looking to keep that impressive trend alive tonight. They lead it by 9 at the break over the Queens Royals. Thrilled to have you with us, John Gross, alongside Coach Josh Springer. 14-point lead was the largest lead for Stetson. They never trailed in that first half, but Queens made things interesting as the half progressed. What do you want to see from these two teams over the final two quarters?
Despite being down 9 at recess, if I'm Coach Brown, I'm really encouraged, and here's why. They got outscored 12-2 to start the game, but over the last 15 minutes of the first half, Queens won that segment 17-16. 15 turnovers forced. Allie Johnson has been amazing. 10 points, 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 assists, 2 steals. If Queens can keep up those active hands, that elite communication on the defensive end, they can get right back in this.
Josh, you mentioned the turnovers and the points off of those turnovers for Queens. Let's take a look back at some of the success they had in that first half in that regard.
Again, it all started when they switched to the zone. They started out the game man-to-man. Stetson was carving them up in the paint. When they switched to the zone, Queens was able to use their athleticism. They, again, had great energy, and I was really impressed with their communication in the full court and in the half court. You see some active hands right there, a 3-on-1 break, and Allie Johnson with a beautiful finish.
Let's take a look at her first half statistics. Again, Stetson leads at 28-19. Look at some of these numbers. Josh, what stands out to you?
Again, the turnovers. I mean, I know Lynn Bria from working with her 20 years ago, and there's paint probably flying off that locker room at the the occurrence of 15 turnovers. That's the number a coach looks for in a game. And so, yes, Queens is athletic and aggressive defensively, but the fact that Stetson turned it over 15 times and the Royals turned it over 11 times themselves, Stetson's going to look to try to clean that up.
And Stetson only averages 16 turnovers per game, as you said, 15 at the half. Let's add to the third member of our team, Kathy and Cardi.
Speaking with Coach Brown at half, she told her team, we're lacking a little bit of a big amount of TNT. That means toughness and tenacity. The way that shows up on the stat sheet specifically is rebounding. Stetson has out-rebounded the Royals by 9, almost double the amount that they have. That's one area that you're really going to see her. That's one area, you want to see her Royals be able to step it up in terms of making sure that they get the job done. Rebounding.
TNT, I like that. And she also threw something else at me today at shoot-around, the 5 Ps. She said, as they broke one of the huddles at the end of shoot-around, she said, all right, guys, we won this game on Saturday. And I asked her, what did you mean by that? She explained, at the end of the Super Bowl, somebody was being interviewed on TV, and they talked about the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Say that 10 times fast. But she said that her team has really lived by that motto this week and has emphasized that and had a phenomenal week of practice because of it.
I absolutely agree with what Jen Brown said. If you ask most coaches, they love practice more than games because they know the game is won or lost in the 2 practices, the 6 practices leading up to that day. The game just shows what the players learned in those practices, but coaches live to teach in practice.
Start of the third quarter, and after it took nearly 5 minutes for the first foul to be called for the second quarter, took all but 13 seconds for a foul in the third quarter as Jalen Talley, who had a big first quarter, a little quieter in that second quarter, heads to the foul line.
John, you hit the nail on the head. The second half starting the exact same way the first half started. Coach Bria's DNA is pound that thing inside, get a paint touch, get a layup at the rim, and they went right to number 33 for another easy one.
Jalen Talley, the 63% free throw shooter, able to split the pair, lead back to double figures for Stetson. Meanwhile, Queens won that second quarter in large part due to the play of that young woman, Allie Johnson, who's up to 12.
Outstanding coaching by the Queens staff. Come out with your hottest player tonight, Allie Johnson. Set a high ball screen for her. She keeps it going and knocks down an open jumper.
12 points for Johnson on 6 of 9 shooting. 3-ball way off from Kunzweiler. Loose ball is brought in by who else but Johnson. Gwynn has her pocket pick. Kunzweiler, kick out. Here's Kelsey. Straight on to Kamaya McNeil. And Stetson will slow things down to the half court. Talley through a double team travel. Turnover number 16, which is the per game average for Stetson.
There was nothing there. Queens did a nice job closing the gap right there, and just a force right there by Talley. On the day, Talley has 5 turnovers, and so yes, she's finished well. Yes, she's a cog inside, key cog for Stetson, but you don't love seeing any of your players having 5 turnovers, especially a post player.
And she had 5 early points. Has been held scoreless since then. Here's Johnson, the step through. Too much. Weak side rebound for Talley. Kelsey, reverse lay, and that goes. Promise Kelsey only played 8 minutes last season. Has now become a regular starter for Stetson, and we see travel.
Lynn Bria told us earlier, Promise is the fastest player she's coached in a long, long time. And we've talked all night about Stetson's transition offense. Well, there it was. She won the 40-yard dash in a beautiful reverse layup to finish.
She is quick, and somebody who joined the team last December, in December of 2022. So mid-season last year, took some time to adjust not just to basketball, but to America. She's from Rubano, Italy. As she turns it over, Johnson with a steal. 3-on-1 for Queens. Oh, the sidestep, and she travels, and her teammates saying, just go right up with that thing.
If you're going to Euro step, you need to finish with the layup. Otherwise, you need to jump stop and make a bounce pass. And unfortunately, that goes into the all-show, no-go category, and Queens needs those 2 points. They can ill afford not to capitalize on turnovers, especially ones with an easy break.
And she tried to Euro step the European.
Bold move.
Here is the European Cassie. McNeil for 3. That pops off the rim. Mitchell, the offensive rebound. 6 offensive board, 8 second chance points for the Hatters.
What a rebound by Mitchell. She's skied for that. She's wearing that knee brace on the left leg. I can't do that on 2 good legs.
She was hurt earlier on in the season, missed some time, but is really finding her stride as of late. The ASUN newcomer of the week as Gwynn draws the foul. Once against Promise Cassie.
Well, and getting back to Mitchell here, John, how about her versatility? She's long, she's lanky, athletic. She makes 2 threes in the first half, and then when you can attack the offensive glass like she did just there, it's easy to see why she's got a bright future with Stetson.
Johnson gets the switch. Johnson amongst the trees. Off the mark. Last off of Weaver. Queens has gone about 2.5 minutes without scoring. As Jemiah Turner heads back on. Places Jalen Talley for the visitors. Here is Turner. Cassie finds the cutter. McNeil to the basket. It goes.
Beautiful basketball. They didn't over-penetrate. Promise drive baseline, and then number 23 looked like McNeil cut weak side. beautiful weak side flash as all the eyes of the Royals were staring at the ball handler.
14-point lead for Stetson. This match is the largest lead of the game for the Hatters. Queens hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. Gwynn looking to change that. She does.
Nice shot by Nikki Gwynn, and boy, did they need it.
Gwynn now 3 of 13 from the field, up to 7 points. McNeil. Kick out to Mitchell. Again, it's McNeil. And she travels.
And Lynn Bria is saying to her, just keep moving the ball. Just keep moving the ball. You don't have to do it on your own. And then, as so many coaches have done, you can come sit next to me and your teammates, think about it, and maybe we'll have a different decision next time.
Well, McNeil is taking a seat right now as she heads off the floor after the turnover, which is the 18th of the game committed by Stetson. Again, a team that averages 16 turnovers per game. Gwynn driving dish, it's an offensive foul.
Just a winning defensive play here for Stetson. You've got number 1 here, Jordan Pete, in perfect help position. Nikki Gwynn gets airborne, and we often say jump pass equals a turnover, jump stop equals an assist. A little bit out of control there for Gwynn. Nice play by the Hatters.
4th turnover committed by Queens in the last 4 minutes. Near the midway point of this third quarter. There's Turner. Open look. Treadwell. Off the iron. We see brings in the long rebound. Shaw's feet intercepted. Here is the speed of Promise Kesey. Way ahead of the pack, and Kesey lays it in. Timeout, Jen Brown, and that brings us to immediate timeout. Stetson matches its largest lead of the ballgame.
Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Stetson leads it by 14 on this Thursday night of college basketball, and Josh, it is officially a historic night. The record has been broken. Caitlin Clark, the Iowa superstar, has just become the all-time leading scorer in the history of Division I women's college basketball.
3,528 points. Caitlin poured in the first 8 of the game tonight, including a 32-footer from the logo. Her points are remarkable, but let's chew on this. Her freshman year, she was first in the nation in scoring, 3rd in assists. Sophomore year, 2nd in scoring, 1st in assists. Junior year, this one, she's leading the nation in scoring and assists, while putting 15,000 butts in seats every single night. Women's basketball fans, please, please, please appreciate her greatness. It has been a remarkable year, and we're excited to watch her down the stretch.
She is so exciting to watch, and there's a whistle that goes against Gwynn. You mentioned she scored the first 8 points of the game. She needed 8 points to set the record. She said, I'm going to take care of that early on tonight. Another media timeout as we'll head to another break. 4:24 to go in the third. Stetson by 14.
Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than a good trail mix. But a mountain bike trail, not so much. Oh, hey. My pedal. Wonder where the other one is.
From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina is there every step of the way.
Good day, though. Good day.
The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 4th. Visit asunsports.org for more information. Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above. Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination. The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 8th. Visit asunsports.org for more information.
Here, strength comes from within. Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next, that's up to us.
Lynn Bria is Stetson's winningest coach, 4-time A-Sun champ, multiple NCAA tournament appearances, but you could add one more thing to her resume. She gave the man to my right, Josh Springer, his very first college coaching job.
I will forever be grateful to Coach Bria. I sent out hundreds of letters, hundreds of calls, trying to coach college basketball when I was 22 years old, and she took a chance on me. A guy that had no college playing experience, a random guy from Wisconsin with a bad jump shot. Coach Bria was then and still is an incredible mentor to me. As Jen Brown said earlier today, she's a Hall of Famer. And not only is she a Hall of Fame coach, she is a Hall of Fame person. She taught me about work ethic. She taught me about leaving no stone unturned. She taught me about preparation. She taught me about positive energy and discipline and details. And you can see that in her team tonight and through all of these years. Coach Bria, thank you. Forever grateful.
You were on her staff for a year while she was at Ohio, with the Bobcats in Athens, Ohio, on a whistle down low. What are some memories that stand out from your time on her coaching staff?
Too many to share right now, but one of the top ones, I mean, I get hired, I'm so excited. I'm coaching Division I college basketball. She hands me the keys to her garage and said, Josh, I need you to inventory all the gear in my garage. And I'd never seen so much green in my life. We were green at the Ohio Bobcats, hats, T-shirts, jerseys, you name it. And that was a real treat, just digging through the garage at all the gear there. That was a fun one.
Kamaya Warren hits the first. The good news for her, she could at least keep some of that green gear here at Stetson. Just cross off the Stetson logo. Cross off the Ohio logo, and she's fine. Same shade of green.
I'm not going to lie. The first year I went back to Wisconsin and I had my green windsuit on and my green Adidas shoes, I got a couple funny looks. But yes, Coach Bria has looked good in green for 20-plus years.
Health Ball keeps it with Queens, and Jen Brown shared that same sentiment, as he said before, calls her a Hall of Famer. They met each other at a professional development event a while back. It was mainly for assistant coaches. Jen Brown was an assistant at the time, but Lynn Bria still went as a head coach. And Jen Brown said that spoke volumes of the type of person she is, as Gwynn drops in the step back down to an 11-point deficit for Queens.
One of Coach Bria's greatest qualities, she's a fighter, and her teams play with that fighting mentality. She grew up in West Virginia, a huge family, and she has scratched, clawed, worked for every single thing she's gotten. personally, professionally, and again, they often say your team takes on the personality of your head coach, and you can see that from the half.
Turner on that last jumper for Stetson. She actually got her first coaching job at the ripe age of 24 years old. As Gwynn is fouled, that is team foul number 3 against Stetson. Johnson. Gwynn now. Knocked away momentarily. Gwynn dragged that pivot foot in travel.
Gwynn does a really good job attacking the basket. However, unfortunately, sometimes when she does that, a lot of her teammates get caught ball watching and standing, and that leaves her a bit isolated trying to make a play 1-on-2, 1-on-3.
Turnover number 5 for Nikki Gwynn tonight. Queens up to 17 turnovers, which is 2 fewer than Stetson has. Foul against Gwynn, 4th team foul. That is the 3rd against Nikki Gwynn. Now you wonder how Jen Brown manages that foul situation, and right away, Gwynn heads to the sideline, and Dia Brisker replaces her.
Whether it's a substitution because of fouls or just because the reality is Nikki Gwynn's running low on gas right now. I like that substitution a lot. Take her out for the next 2.5 minutes. Let her recharge the batteries for a 4th quarter stretch run. And Adia Brisker provides a great offensive punch. Remember, this is an Adia Brisker who led the team in scoring a year ago, so she's more than capable.
Whistle down low, 4th. Now the 5th team foul against Queens. Free throws for Jalen Talley as Stetson finds herself in the bonus.
Great wraparound post feed right here by Stetson. And Talley does a nice job of, she was getting ready to attack the double team right there. And again, now gets to the free throw line, knocks it down.
14-point lead for Stetson. It's the 5th free throw of the game attempted by Stetson. Now make that 6. We've only seen 10 combined free throws attempted. Remember, last game, Bellarmine against Queens shot 35 free throws, so not a whole lot of fouls tonight.
Well, and if you extrapolate this out across 4 quarters, Stetson is right on their pace of averaging 59 points a game. So Stetson's offense is not winning this game. But what has Coach Bria talked about? Elite defense, and that's why they're winning the game right now, because Queens is on pace to score 40 points in the contest.
Weaver is knocked inside. 4th team foul against Stetson. Queens averages 63 a game, but as you said, held under 30 right now. Weaver, open look, Weaver, big bucket.
I'm so impressed with that 17-foot jumper. I don't think Weaver would have made that a year ago. And she made it earlier tonight, and I thought to myself, is that an accident or is that real? And she's knocked it down twice with confidence, and that only comes with thousands and thousands of reps. Good for her.
She is such a hard worker and is putting together, in my eyes, an all-conference season. That three's off the mark, and Westmoreland brings in the miss. Weaver leads the conference in rebounds per game, also averaging double figures. As Johnson is short but follows her own miss. Goes right back up with it, takes the hard spill, and draws the foul.
You have to love the perseverance and stick-to-itiveness of Allie Johnson. She has an open jumper here, not quite able to knock it down, and then guess who knows it's a miss? She does before anyone, and then she makes an aggressive move to the basket and draws the foul right there. I've been really impressed with her confidence tonight.
Treadwell called for the personal. That's her 3rd, team's 5th, so both teams in the bonus for the final minute 23. Johnson, a rare miss from the free throw line, the 86% foul shooter. And she splits the pair. And she will head off as Tamia Shaw replaces her. Treadwell, dish out, swing, open look. Here's Pete for three. That's off. Weaver on the rebound. Brisker back to Weaver. Give and go for the lay-in. Final minute of this third quarter. Cassie. McNeil now. Shot clock winding down. Cassie with 5. McNeil heaves it. McNeil beats the buzzer.
That's a backbreaker, John. Queens with an outstanding defensive possession. Stetson doesn't panic late in the clock. They throw a post feed and a beautiful diagonal pass, and then the triple knockdown by Kamaya McNeil.
Just the third made three-pointer this game for Stetson. Weesey is bumped, and Tiziana Weesey will make her way to the free throw line. Goes against Kamaya McNeil. Only her first. Weiler comes on for the visitors, replaces Pete. And 2 foul shots for Tiziana Weesey. 74% from the line this season. Finds herself in the starting lineup today. Stetson by 11. And it's taken away by Shaw. Heaves it, had 4 seconds to work with. And Treadwell has the rebound. And we will head to the fourth quarter. A low-scoring defensive struggle. Stetson by 11. Once you stand defeated in conference play in the room on ESPN+.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Ask for gas. Ask for gourmet meals. Ask for endless hot water for faster drying time. Ask for natural gas. Ask for appliances that last longer. Ask for more comfort, for higher return on your home's value. Ask for hurricane ready, for hot meals and hot showers in a power outage. Ask for benefits. Ask for energy savings. Ask for rebates. Ask for more. Ask for natural gas.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Stetson leads it by 11 as we enter the fourth quarter. Cappy and Cardi takes us inside the Hatters huddle.
Inside Stetson's huddle, Coach Bria really just emphasized we can't stop playing. This is a game that has to be the complete, full next 10 minutes, total Hatters basketball. She even told me earlier today, our team's not really known for scoring. Our team really gets their points from defense, and I had to adapt with that.
Thanks, Chad, and that's absolutely true. You look at this team's makeup, and it's not what they were intending this team to look like. They had a couple of injuries to some key players first few games of the season, and Lynn Bria had to look at her roster and say, how can we find success this season? And she said, listen, I'm an offensive coach, but we have to be a defensive team this year. That is our makeup. That's how we will win games, and they've won games with their defense. Kunzweiler off the heel, long rebound to Weesey. As we open up the fourth quarter, Queens looking to get back within single digits. Weaver does just that, and the foul.
Weaver runs down the floor, a great rim run by a post player, turns, faces up, splits the defense, and one. Beautiful finish. Quick move towards the paint.
Check that. It is actually an offensive foul against Jordan Weaver.
I don't believe it. They didn't ask my opinion, but I don't believe it. She split the two defenders right there. I'd have her going to the line.
The wave off the basket and the chance of the three-point play. That's the third foul against Jordan Weaver, team's first of the fourth.
I'll say this, even though the play didn't go the Royals' way, coaches will never fault kids for making aggressive attacking plays. And you talk about three back-to-back-to-back heartbreaking plays for Queens. They give up the three to end the quarter. The and one that they thought they just had, and now they give up another triple.
Back-to-back threes made by Kamaya McNeil, who has 14 points, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. Weaver, step back. Weaver rattles in.
She said, Coach Springer, that's my third one. I got range. Next year I'll be shooting it from the arc. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, she's only attempted 2 threes this season. She's 0 for 2, but you're right. That's the next step in the evolution of Jordan Weaver's game. It stays here with Stetson.
She's so explosive off the bounce. She's getting guarded by a post player because she plays an undersized post spot. If she could stretch her range out to the arc, look out. She would literally be a Conference Player of the Year candidate.
And it's knocked away by Gwynn, who scoops up the loose ball. Gwynn, separation. Gwynn can't buy it. Westmoreland battles down low. And Autumn Westmoreland is fouled. By the way, an update on Allie Johnson. She went down hard on a foul late in that third quarter. Update does say that she will return. Good news for Queens because she's been one of the leaders of this team today with 11 points, 3 boards, and a couple of assists. Weaver, mid-range, off the mark. And Shaw, a little too physical in the backcourt. Her first, team second.
One of the things that jumps off the map at me right now, John, bench points. Coach Bria talked earlier today about the depth of her team. Bench scoring is 18-2 right now, and we're in the fourth quarter.
In large part due to the play of Mitchell as Queens forces another turnover, but Quintara Mitchell, the ASUN newcomer of the week. She's put up some big numbers these last few games, and she's done it off the bench. Just one start this season in now 19 appearances.
12.7 rebounds off the bench. Those are phenomenal numbers for a starter. If she keeps playing like this, she won't be an off-the-bench player for much longer.
She had 12 and 9 last game, 18 and 9 the game before that.
Coach's favorite number, your plus-minus. Stetson is plus 14 when she is on the floor tonight. In other words, expect to see a lot of her in the fourth quarter.
Westmoreland travels, sends it right back to Stetson. And Autumn Westmoreland will make her way off the floor. Kamaya Ward replaces her. Back to Mitchell. Lynn Bria said it took a little bit of time for her to adjust. She was at Chicago State last year. Before that was at the junior college level at Walter State. There's Turner off of the jumper. Long rebound tracked down by Shaw. Threads it for Gwynn. Gets it to go. And one for Nikki Gwynn off the dime by Tamia Shaw.
That one we're convinced is an and one that's going to stay. I didn't speak too soon this time. Really unselfish play. Shaw gets the loose ball, gets a paint touch right here. Great job of Nikki running the lane, and a tough finish in traffic. Queens is hanging around, John. It's been 2-3 quarters of down 9, down 10, down 9, down 10. They started down 12-2 to start the game, and here we are in single digits.
Well, these two teams don't have the longest of histories. They played just twice before tonight, but both of those games were decided by 2 points. Each team with a win in this series. Queens again in its zone defense. 10 of the shot clock. Here is Mitchell. Pete into the corner. 3 ball. Turner, it goes.
Well, we talked in the open, hey, we're going to give up some threes to Stetson. Well, Stetson has made them pay by making 4 threes now in the last, 6 minutes of gameplay? And the reality is, if that keeps happening, the Hatters are going home with a win.
Josh, Jemiah Turner was 1 for 17 on 3-pointers this season before that last jumper.
So let's talk about this from a coaching point of view. Each one of these Division I coaching staff, head coach, 3 assistants. One of the assistants is assigned the scouting report for each game. On some coaching staff, 1 assistant does all the scouting reports. On some coaching staff, they alternate every 3 or 4 games. There's nothing more frustrating as an assistant than when the 1 for 17 3-point shooter swooshes it and the head coach turns and looks at you and says, "What was that?"
Well, Stetson, it's not just Turner, it's everybody hitting now. Mitchell stretching things out from distance. That is now 6 made threes, shooting 32% from distance for a team that shoots just 23% of the season, as Brisker leaves it off to Ward, who is denied. It's Mitchell. Turner now down the lane. The sidestep lays it in. Timeout, Jen Brown. The Hatters, an epic run as they lead it by 17 on an 8-0 run.
Incredible turning defense into offense. And again, transition fast break, not just the 3-point shooter, but when you see Jemiah Turner, the heartbeat of the Hatters in action, they just catapulted the lead to 17.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
It's an 8-0 run for Stetson after Queens had trimmed it down to a 9-point game. And a large part of this run and a large part of Stetson's success all season has been the play of Jemiah Turner, the redshirt senior, hails from Orlando, Florida. And Turner in her 5th season at Stetson. That being said, she spent a summer away from Stetson because she actually transferred to UMKC, Kansas City, for one summer. And then said, you know what? This was not the right decision. And Lynn Bria accepted her back with open arms. She said it was not at all a difficult decision for me to let her back into the program. They know the type of player and person that she is. And that was after 3 seasons at Stetson. And now 2 years later, here she is, the leading scorer for the squad.
Turner is a Swiss Army knife. She brings the ball down the floor. She plays in the high post, facilitating zone offense. She makes the corner 3. She rebounds the ball. The cerebralness that she plays the game with is next level.
Weaver taps it away, dives in the loose ball. And she was on the sideline, so it stays with Stetson.
I've got Lynn Bria with a loose ball rebound right there.
She was in the area. Down to the shot clock for Jordan Peete. Turner battles inside. Turner is fouled and will shoot 2.
Just smart basketball. Turner catches the ball at the top of the key. She has the shorter Nikki Gwynn on her. Turner much stronger. She just takes her time, muscles her way down to the basket, and draws the foul.
Turner, 9 points, 4 boards, 67% foul shooter. Right now just shy for season average. Averages 10.6 points per game. And now into double figures. 10 points for her tonight. She had struggled over the last 2 games, only had 11 total points over the last 2, as Johnson is denied by Treadwell. Good to see Johnson back on the floor after that hard spill in that 3rd quarter. Peete thought about it. Mitchell. Backs inside. Dish out. Peete. 3 seconds. Turner. Too strong. Talley knocks it out. Queens basketball.
Great discipline by Queens. Multiple times tonight, Stetson's been able to get paint touches, ball reversals, and open looks. Great discipline, closeouts, and one-on-one defense by Queens.
Neal heads back on for the visitors. Allie Johnson comes off. Tamia Shaw replaces her. Take a look at this. Oh, great job by her cameraman down there. Right at the camera. It's coming through your TV screen. Brisker left it short.
A lot of one-on-one possessions for the Royals, John. You can make a few of those, but again, your best offense is going to be when everybody touches it.
Talley directs the offense. Mitchell, straight on 3. Oh, Mitchell! She is on fire from beyond the arc tonight.
Speaking of the Stetson offense, we got a chuckle out of Lynn Bria earlier tonight saying I coach the Princeton offense, and we've run it longer than Tara Vanderveer has. Yes, Tara Vanderveer has 800 more wins, all right, and congratulations, Coach Tara Vanderveer, becoming the all-time leader in coaching wins at over 1,200. But Lynn Bria was sure to tell us, we both run the Princeton offense. I've been doing it longer.
Yeah, she said that she did it first, but she also said that Tara Vanderveer might be like the most underrated, underappreciated, underdiscussed coach in college basketball, and she's right.
She shows up, she teaches, she goes home, she's quiet, she's under the radar, and Coach Bria said, yes, I know she's the all-time leader in wins, and we still don't talk about her nearly enough across the country.
Weaver to the free throw line, a trio of changes for Stetson after that last foul on McNeil, which is her second. And Weaver hits on the first. It is so impressive. We touched before on Caitlin Clark and the history that she made. The other history that we see this season on the coaching side, Tara Vanderveer eclipsing 1,200 wins. And just the sport of women's college basketball is in such an unbelievably good place right now.
I couldn't agree more. Congratulations, Coach Vanderveer, at 1,206 wins. And let's not forget the guy up in Connecticut, Gino Auriemma, just hit 1,200 wins. And one of the things I would say to all fans out there, enjoy greatness. Enjoy greatness on the sidelines, Coach Vanderveer, Coach Auriemma. Enjoy greatness on the court, Caitlin Clark. Women's basketball is healthier and thriving more than ever right now in 2024.
Speaking of Gino Auriemma, I had the chance on Sunday to go to the South Carolina-UConn game down in Columbia. Unbelievable atmosphere. And UConn came up well short against the South Carolina team that is just so much better than everybody else in college basketball. But the environment there was second to none, and it just goes to show how much excitement there is about the sport.
We can't have a conversation about coaching icons and legends without talking about Dawn Staley.
100%.
She got that job in, again, 15 years ago, and they were one of the worst programs in the country. I know through my own eyes, I've sat in home visits with Dawn Staley and her staff. I've had two of my players go play for her in Tiffany Mitchell and Jatari White, and look at what they've done the last 3 years. Won a national title. Last year was the hands-on favorite to win the national title and got upset in the Final Four. And what have they done? Oh, undefeated in 23 and 24, and the proverbial favorite, prohibitive favorite for this season. So yes, that environment down in Columbia is nothing short of remarkable.
Johnson off of the jumper as McNeil is the rebound. They are just at a different level. So fun to watch. They've always been known for having some really good post players. Now they're leading the nation in three-point percentage. And whistle underneath. Goes against Jordan Weaver. That is her fourth. Team's fourth as well of this fourth quarter. We'll have the opportunity on Saturday to see one of the best teams in the country come into town. One of the premier mid-major programs in FGCU will be here at Curry Arena. Final 2 minutes. Underneath, Carter Hartley, her shot redirected. 1 second at the buzzer. Off the iron for McNeil. Westmoreland from the mid-range. She has that versatility where she can step back and hit that jumper. Final 90 seconds. Stetson on its way to a third straight win, a 7th victory in its last 8 games. And I think most impressive of all, a 6-0 road record in conference play.
When you look at most women's basketball standings right now, you see the padded home schedule. A lot of teams do. Hey, we're 12-0 at home. We're 13-2 at home, and then we're trying to be 500 on the road. And so, to your point, Coach Bria and her crew are 6-0 on the road in conference. Combined with the fact they are 6-0 in games decided by 5 or less, those are hallmark statements and records of physically and mentally tough teams. and teams that can win in March. And again, right now Stetson's sitting second in the tied for second in the ASUN standings. They are a team right now that nobody will want to play in the conference tournament / NCAA tournament.
And the remarkable thing about that 6-0, or soon-to-be 6-0 road record in conference play, they were 0-6 in the non-conference portion of their road schedule. So did not pick up a win, albeit had some challenging games as Weaver draws the foul. But matchups at Tulane, at South Florida, tremendous program, at High Point, at Indiana, and at Denver, the non-conference. Lost all of them.
Well, I think on the trip back to Florida, Coach Bria is going to be really pleased with their team defense. The last 2 times playing Queens has hung mid-70 point totals on the Hatters. You can bet that was a focal point in practice this week. And tonight, Stetson came out with a 12-2 lead early. Looks like Queens is going to come up shy of 50 points. Coach Bria and company will take holding their opponent under 50 every single night of the week.
Team that has a defense its calling card as Weaver misses both free throws. Stetson kicking off a 3-game road swing, as you said, tied for second in the ASUN. First of 3 critical games. Oh, the backdoor feed is bobbled by Anna Kunzweiler.
Beautiful basketball. I know the end result didn't work out, but Coach Bria loves that. Post player looking for a weak side cutter, just wasn't quite able to complete the pass.
Meanwhile, Queens will welcome FGCU on Saturday. Westmoreland, her 3, bounces just out. Offensive rebound for Weaver. Stays with Queens. And in the ASUN, it's the top 10 teams make the conference tournament out of 12. Right now, Queens finds itself in 12th, but still games left to try to fight its way into the postseason. As Weaver's off with the jump shot. And it's brought in by Jorah Epley, who fires ahead to the speedy Promise Kessie. And the Stetson bench says, let's hold the basketball and enjoy our 3rd straight win, 7th win of the last 8 games. And now a remarkable 6-0 start to ASUN road play as the Hatters move to 2-1 all-time against Queens. First time this series was not decided by 2 points. A 62-44 win for the Hatters. Josh, your thoughts on what we saw tonight?
Well, I think coming in, we started talking about Stetson's defense, and Stetson's defense is what won the game. Coach Bria said, our offense isn't going to win it for us, and it didn't. But I'll tell you what did, their serious commitment to the defensive end and their bench play. 21 points off the bench, 21 points again. Quintara Mitchell again, 15 points, 8 rebounds. Just a total team effort for the visitors tonight.
The Stetson moves to 14-12, 9-3 in conference, and Cap Biancardi is with the winning coach, Lynn Bria.
Coach, make that 6 in a row on the road for your team. What did your team do to execute on top?
Well, the first half we didn't execute very much. I thought Queens did a great job of turning us over. They did. They were very physical and turned us over quite a bit. So I thought the second half we came out much more aggressive, started moving the basketball a little bit better, and didn't turn the ball over as much. So they're a physical team. So it was good. It was good for us. We had some shots, which I think really helped against that zone. We had some people really get hot, so that always helps.
3 players in double figures, moving on to now 9-3 in conference. What else does this team have to achieve?
We just got to think about the next one. I know it's a cliche, but it's true because there's so many games left, and every team you just never know. And I think right now our focus has got to be on Kennesaw. We'll learn from this one. We got to get on to Kennesaw, and then see what happens because we got quite a few down the stretch here that can go either way.
Well, that makes it fun in the ASUN.
It does, but it's more fun. It's more fun, for people to get to sit in the stands fans. It's not as much fun for us to have to coach it, but I think if our kids just keep getting better, that's always been our message. Just get better every game, and let's just see what happens. And right now, I think we still control our destiny, and I think we're in a good spot.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you,
guys.
Thanks, Coach, and thanks, Kat. And hey, Stetson breaks all of its huddles by bringing it in and saying ASUN champs. So this team might have the making of a conference championship this season. The Hatters win a third straight game as they take down Queens 62-44. For our entire crew, led by Jacob Wright, Jim Piscatelli, my broadcast partner Josh Springer, third member of our team, Cappy and Cardi. I'm John Gross saying so long from Charlotte. Stetson victorious. All games airing in the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived in the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.